Hello and welcome. We're back.
Hooray!
I'm Luke Riley, joining me is Cam Shea.
G'day, Luke.
And it's time for another installment of our weekly roundup of the greatest racing games.
Greatest slash most significant.
Most significant, most memorable.
Slash
blah,
stuff,
blah, blah.
stuff we want to talk
We've
about.
said it all before. As you can note, it's just come up on screen this week where it's taking a look at Ridge Racer. Cam, I know you've been wanting to look at this for a while.
You'll notice me here just going in to load my race times, which is the only way to actually load the courses and stuff you'd unlock.
All right.
Yeah, there was no like kind of save function. I mean, this is like the
This
launch
early
title
days.
for PlayStation.
This is
man.
early days.
This is really, really early days.
Yeah, I know you've been wanting to get to this for a while.
I have such a soft spot for the original Ridge Racer.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's only one course. I know that was like, we paid an absurd amount of money for that, but the context of it was what made it, I think. So let's just go to that. I mean, first of all, the arcade game, it was born in the arcades.
Yes.
System 22 hardware. This is like Arcade Wars. This is like Namco versus Sega. Tekken versus Virtua Fighter. You got Daytona versus Ridge Racer. That's kind of like the setting. They were trying to. There's basically an arms race between those two companies, and some really, really great games came out of it. So hit Japanese arcades in October '93.
93.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Western release was more mid '94.
Yep.
And then it was a launch title, developed in like 9 months or something crazy like that. And they had to kind of do it from scratch apparently because the arcade hardware and the PlayStation hardware, they're both 3D focused, but they're different. So anyway,
I imagine there was like 4 people or something like that.
I have no idea. I mean, I'd love
all those games were made by, half a dozen people back in those days.
So yeah, launch title for PlayStation, December '94 in Japan, September '95 in Europe and North America. And yeah, this is like straight up arcade racing. One course, there's one extension to that course, and then you can race it backwards.
Yep.
So not a huge amount of content, and I wasn't necessarily happy about spending all that money on this, but at the same time, like this was like the first wave of like 3D games that were kind of close to arcade perfect that you could play at home.
Yeah.
So you were kind of, the weird psychology of it was, okay, there's only one course, but every time you raced it, you're saving yourself money at the arcades. Yeah. It's this weird thing where it was just like, I can't believe this is in my house.
Yeah.
This 3D powerhouse is in my house and I'm playing it, and it's because this game just screams arcade.
Yeah.
Because it is so brash, so in your face. The mechanics aren't subtle, but they're just like raw. And that's why I like Ridge Racer so much, is because you can really attack it. It's one of those racing games that, like especially compared to like the Ridge Racer games that kind of came immediately afterwards, like Revolution to a lesser extent than Rage Racer and R4. The handling in this is really binary. You're either power sliding or you're not.
I know, yeah.
And I really like that. There's no wondering whether you're power sliding. Like, especially with the not Lamborghinis, which basically
The Shamborghinis,
nice. That basically had no traction, right? And so you didn't even have to tap brake. You just steer into a corner and just release the accelerator for a split second, and then bang back on it, and you're sliding.
Yep.
And when you know that, then that informs like how you race. And I'm not saying that the game doesn't have kind of nuance, because it does. Like if you're watching me doing some courses here, and there's definitely an art form to maintaining your speed out of a power slide, and I'm kind of not really doing that well in some of the races I recorded. I
think it's okay to be a little rusty.
Yeah, it's been a while.
22 years old.
So there is kind of skill to it, but I like that binary nature, and I also really like.
I always hated it.
Yeah.
The binary nature.
Yeah. But that's because you want nuance. You want it to feel like a car. I want it to just be exciting. And that's why this is a fun series for us to do,
exactly,
because we come to racing games from a very, very different
Game
place.
over. There you go. You're done.
I know.
You're done.
I know. I finished the game. I just finished the game just then. Can you believe it?
It must be hard though for someone who's say in their mid to late teens now to look at a game like this that you were playing in the mid 90s in your late teens, and that mindset is completely different. Today we're looking at games where like man, this game doesn't have enough content.
Yeah.
I refuse to pay this much money
Yep.
for this game. You know, X
Yep.
game, it's only got 80 cars in it.
Yep.
Not enough for me.
I mean, this game like didn't have split screen.
Yeah.
I mean, it had system link you could do.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, I
So
remember
that was
yeah.
pretty awesome. But yeah, there's not a huge amount here, and let's face it, like it's also kind of like frustrating design in some ways because you know the AI is pretty awful. You know, you just get almost stop dead when you run into them, and yeah, like the way the game's structured is you do the basic course like forwards several times with one extension. I think now this is the course with the extension on it.
Yep.
And then you do the more backwards, and it kind of culminates like when you've beaten all that stuff, you have like time trial against this super fast black car, and you basically have to flawlessly beat that. I don't know. It's kind of it's like arcade games. The odds are kind of stacked against you the further in you get. But that's okay. You know. That's the way it was. So yeah, this extension I wasn't a huge fan of because it's kind of narrower, and it's like fiddlier, and it's less about glorious power slides. But you can kind of cheat it a little bit. The way the power sliding, and this is another reason you probably hate it, the way the power sliding mechanics work, I think, is just you just get tugged around the corner.
Yeah,
like
you
as soon
do,
as you lose traction, you just get tugged around the corner. So those kind of narrow, like little windy bits on the extension, you can just fudge your way through it. I don't really like that. To me, like it's about. And by the way, I'm just gonna say, my favorite corner in any racing game ever is this one here.
Okay.
Now, I didn't attack it very hard there, but the reason I love that corner is not actually because of the corner, although it's kind of cool, you know, this kind of you're going down a hill and around a corner. But what I love about it is just how aggressively you can attack it.
Okay.
Because that corner, I never stuff it up ever. I never crash into it, but you can go so close to it that it feels like you're brushing up against the rock.
Yeah.
And you can like steer into it really early and just sweep across it, just right in front of the rock face, and then out into this clean just acceleration down that beach stretch. And I love it. Yeah, I mean, like this game, like I think it's brilliant, but it's kind of like a small doses game. You know, like it's a game that is really fun in moderation, but you kind of just need to dip in every so often.
Well, it was one of those things where, at this point in the lifespan of the PlayStation, which is right at the beginning, you were paying to be at the tip of the speed.
Yeah.
You're paying. I've looked at this, and I've looked at the exchange, the inflation rate and that kind of stuff. And people down here paying for a PlayStation 1 on launch, you're paying more than any other PlayStation has cost ever since. You're paying an astonishing amount of money, and then you're buying a brand new game, and it didn't come with a lot. But yeah, you were. This is for people who wanted to be on the cusp.
Yeah, this is a game that you show off to your friends because it's just mind-boggling that you can have it in your house.
Yeah.
Hey, so look, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I reckon another reason that you probably don't love this game is because it is thoroughly obnoxious. And to me, this game being obnoxious is one of the things I love about it, because the soundtrack is so in your face. It's not all hardcore, but it's all techno.
Yeah.
And like, there's a couple of tracks that are just like ridiculous Rotterdam Gabba techno, and the announcer's shouting at you the whole time. And even when he's being nice, he's still just like annoying. You know, like, do you hear what he says when you come first? Wait. He's not gonna say it?
Great job! I got everything on camera, so you'll watch it later, huh? You're the greatest!
You're the greatest! It's like, ah!
That's a real pick-me-up.
But then in Ridge Racer Revolution, he starts insulting you.
Oh.
When you're doing badly, he's like, ha, you're too slow. And it's like, shut up! I paid for this game!
No, I couldn't have got behind that.
No, but I love it. Like, all this stuff, the mechanics, you know, the soundtrack, the announcer, it all just screams mid-90s arcade.
Yep.
And so I don't know, like, how much of my love for this game is grounded in its ability to transport me back to that time, and how much of it is like genuine admiration for the design. But I think it is honestly a bit of a mix. Like, there's definitely a lot of nostalgia there, but I think there's a lot to be said for this game and what it set out to achieve, and I feel like it did a really good job of...
Which you've finished twice in the space of this one video so far.
Thank you very much, yeah. I am great at this game.
On the topic of a game like this, which is a product of its time, then let's quickly chat about like where it is. Where is it now?
Yeah, I mean,
there's been so many versions of Ridge Racer over the years.
And this is the backwards course, by the way. So,
here we go. Okay.
Yeah, extra content. Look at it. Oh, sorry. Go on. Yeah,
there's been so many, but
it was a staple launch title for PlayStation.
Yeah.
Original PlayStation, PS2, PS3, PSP.
Yeah, PSP. Yeah.
Vita. I mean, the Vita game was awful. PSP game was awesome. But then, nothing on PS4. And it's just kind of gone a little bit AWOL. I mean, we had... when you kind of frame it up, like, you can see how it's difficult to maintain a series like this because it's founded on just simple arcade thrills.
Yeah.
And then as it kind of hit Ridge Racer and R4, they expanded it out and made it a bit more involved and a bit more customization and that kind of stuff. But then with R5 for PS2, it kind of went back to a bit more of an arcade sensibility, and then 6 and 7 were very arcadey, and PSP game was very arcadey. But then that kind of does outstay its welcome because there's only so many times you can kind of, and I mean, this course has appeared in so many Ridge Racer games at this point. And so obviously Namco kind of wanted to reboot it, so they got Bugbear, who we both love.
Yeah, love Bugbear, yeah.
Great games, and they made Unbounded, which was a good game in its own right. I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't really a Ridge Racer game.
Didn't feel like a Ridge Racer game.
No,
I liked it, so that tells me that it probably didn't feel like a Ridge Racer game.
Yep. And then there was Driftopia, which was like a free-to-play take on that, which was in early access on PC.
And then never came out of it.
They just shuttered it. And then there was like Slipstream on mobile, but I don't...
Yeah.
It was okay, but whatever. But the series is kind of in no man's land right now. So I don't really know. I don't think Namco has any idea what to do with it. I mean, I feel like maybe you do just use it as that technical showcase thing. You bring it back for launches, and then you just let it sit for a while.
Yeah.
You come back with a bang and do something that's like technically astounding, because that's part of what racing games can do, is they showcase technology. And
I feel like a racing game like this, you'd think you could build it, with a modestly sized team, release it digitally. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, there is a lot of, there's so much love for there's so much like bank in nostalgia these days, and you got to feel like there's a way to bring Ridge Racer back.
By the way, I love that. At the end of the backwards variant, every single time when you finish, you just run into a wall.
Oh yeah.
It's meant to take over. They obviously just didn't get round to actually fixing that because the development time frame was so tight.
9 months.
Yep, or something like that.
Yeah,
It was a matter of months. I don't know, man. Like, it'll be back in some form, but I'm glad. In some ways, it's good that they've got their free-to-play experiment out of the way, and maybe they realize that they need to bring it back properly. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm finished it 3 times now.
All of that. That brings it to the end. Thanks for tuning in. As always, hit us up on Twitter at Mr. Luke Riley, at Jazzabration.
Yep. And game over, man.